17 most populated cities in Africa. The urban population of Africa has been growing quickly in recent years. These cities are struggling to adapt as more people compete for limited urban resources, which is creating both opportunities and challenges. On the other hand, the increase in population is also opening up new economic, technological, and social opportunities. In this video, you'll come to know the most populated cities in Africa, with number 1 on this list being the most populated. Welcome to the channel and thanks for watching. Please subscribe and turn on the notification bell in order to get notified whenever we upload a new video. 17. Mogadishu, Somalia, 2 to 3 million. Somalia's capital and largest city is Mogadishu. It is one of the most dangerous cities in the world. There hasn't been a significant census taken in the city. There were thought to be 1.4 million people living there, or more. According to a study by the US-based Demographia consultancy, Mogadishu's population is expanding at the rate of 6.9% yearly. The population is pegged at 2 to 3 million according to other TBN estimates. 43% of the population lives in abject poverty in this city. 73% of the population lives on less than $2 a day. Regardless of these challenges, Mogadishu is Somalia's administrative and economic hub, with foreign countries pouring in to fund projects to kickstart this war-torn country's economy. The first Somali bank was the country's first bank. It was established in 2013. 16. Port Harcourt, Nigeria, 3.1 million. The 4th most popular city in Nigeria and the 16th in Africa is Port Harcourt. Are you unaware of it? Well, not just you. Port Harcourt, which is located alongside the Bonny River, is the capital of Nigeria's Rivers State. It has been a significant center for oil production since the 50s. Estimates from the census show that there are more than 3.1 million people living in the city, a significant increase from less than 300,000 in 1991. One of the richest cities in Africa, Port Harcourt has a gross domestic product per person higher than that of the US. Lord Harcourt, a former colony governor, was honored with the city's naming. The city, which is one of the most significant ports in the nation, is connected to other significant cities around the globe by a sizable international airport. Due to its advantageous location in West Africa, the city is also home to numerous multinational corporations. Being surrounded by rivers, waterfalls, and mountains adds to Port Harcourt's beauty and makes it a special travel destination for both domestic and foreign tourists. The area around Port Harcourt is rich with natural resources like oil, gas, rubber, and timber. This makes it one of the most industrialized areas in Nigeria. There are also plantations for palm oil, cocoa, and rubber trees, plus rice farms along the riverbanks. 15. Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, 3.4 million. The 540 square kilometer urban area of Addis Ababa is Ethiopia's capital city and commercial hub. It has a population of 3.4 million. In 2014, Bloomberg reported that the city's population is expected to reach 8.1 million by 2040. Addis Ababa's average annual GDP is $32.04 billion, and it is growing at an average rate of 12.18%. The city is an industrial and manufacturing hub that contributes 4% to the country's economy. Addis Ababa is also experiencing a construction boom. In 2015, the first ever modern urban rail service was built in the city for $470 million. The rail service is the first of its kind in sub-Saharan Africa. Still, poverty is high in the city. 80% of urban dwellers in the country live in slums. Crime levels are relatively low in the capital due to the presence of police, some in plain clothes. But petty crimes like pickpocketing or purse grabbing happen. 14. Durban, South Africa, 3.4 million. In South Africa's KwaZulu-Natal province, the port city of Durban is located. It is the 3rd largest city in the nation behind Johannesburg and Cape Town. It has the biggest port in Africa. 3.4 million people live in the metropolis of Durban. According to Statistics South Africa, Durban's population increased by 1.13% annually on average between 2001 and 2011. Durban handles more cargo than other ports in South Africa as a port city. Other sectors that support this city's economy include manufacturing, agribusiness, tourism, and technology. Durban has made a name for itself as a global financial center that attracts foreign investors. Despite being located in the wealthy province of KwaZulu-Natal, the city is home to 3 million people who are living in poverty. Additionally, crime from the slums is spreading to the city, resorts, and even beaches. 13. Nairobi, Kenya, 3.5 million. Nairobi is Kenya's capital and largest city. It has an estimated population of above 3.5 million residents, of whom 60% live in poverty. It is a hub of commerce, technology, industry, and finance in East and Central Africa. Nairobi contributes 60% of Kenya's GDP. Major airlines and charter plane companies operate from Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, thereby opening East Africa to the rest of the world. Crime levels in Nairobi are classified as critical by Overseas Security Advisory Council (OSAC) of the United States, with robberies, burglaries, carjackings, and street crimes being prevalent. Crime levels are high in slums like Kibera and Mathare, where incomes are very low. The slums are classified as the biggest in Africa. 12. Ibadan City, Nigeria, 3.6 million. Ibadan, the third largest city in Nigeria and 12th in Africa, with a population of above 3.6 million, is located in Oyo State, about 100 miles inland from Lagos. Following its conquest by the British colonial authorities in 1902, Ibadan was first developed as an inland satellite town for Lagos, but it has since grown to become a significant city on its own. Additionally, there's local oil production. Ibadan was originally known as Eba Odon, which in Yoruba means by the edge of the meadow. In accordance with a colonial charter granted by King George IV of Great Britain, a group of British colonists established a mission station there in 1829, marking the beginning of the modern city's history. Over 30 people were killed in the mission settlement attack on April 12, 1851 by the locals, who called it home, including the Reverend Joseph A. Hinds, a missionary from Sierra Leone with mixed African and European ancestry. The beginning of Ibadan's transformation into an urban area occurred in 1852 with the dedication of a church and school at Iko by the missionary Edward Togood. 11. Accra, Ghana, 4.1 million. Ghana's capital and biggest city is Accra. There are about 4.1 million people living there. Between 2000 and 2010, Accra's population increased by 3.1% on average. The nation's main center for commerce, industry, technology, transportation, innovation and communications is Accra. Through the largest airport in the nation, Kotoko International Airport, which also serves as a gateway to the rest of the world. The city's formal and unofficial economies give the national economy a $3 billion boost. Accra is generally safe, but there have been incidents of muggings on beaches and in crowded places, as well as pickpocketing in markets. 10. Casablanca, Morocco, 4.3 million. The largest city in Morocco is Casablanca. In this port city, there are about 4.3 million inhabitants. It serves as Morocco's principal industrial, economic, commercial, and financial hub. The port in Casablanca is the biggest artificial port in the world and the biggest in North Africa. Casablanca has a more highly educated labor force than the rest of the nation. Compared to 8.1% of the rest of the country's population over the age of 15, 12% of adults in the city have higher education. Slums on the outskirts of the city are rampant with poverty. These slums house between 700,000 and 1 million people and are devoid of basic amenities like clean water. Drug trafficking, prostitution, and Islamic radicalization take place in the slums, endangering Casablanca's peace as a whole. 9. Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, 4.36 million. Tanzania's largest city, Dar es Salaam, is 565 square kilometers in size. With about 4.36 million inhabitants, it is also the biggest port city in East Africa. 70% of Dar es Salaam's inhabitants, according to the World Bank report, reside in improvised unplanned settlements with poor access to paved roads, clean water, and sanitary facilities, and earn an average of $1 per day. Tanzania's center of commerce, industry, and education is Dar es Salaam. 70% of the national GDP is produced in this former capital. Being an oceanfront city, new outside investment is growing toward port expansion. To double the port's capacity, the World Bank committed $565 million in 2015. Dar es Salaam can generate a $2 billion profit yearly at that level of operation. However, crimes like muggings, purse snatches, pickpocketing, armed robberies, and burglaries are a problem in this city. 8. Johannesburg, South Africa, 4.4 million. The capital of Gauteng, the richest province in South Africa and the biggest city in the nation, is Johannesburg. It has 4.434 million people living in it. The population increased by 3.18% between 2001 and 2011. Johannesburg has the 27th largest economy in the world and produces 17% of South Africa's wealth. Manufacturing, retail, technology, fashion and service industries like hotels are all thriving in this city. Johannesburg serves as a major global financial center for the continent, and Sandton is home to Africa's biggest stock exchange. Poverty is also common in the city, with over 1 million people living in city slums. Johannesburg is among the most dangerous cities in the world in terms of crime and homicide. Annually, there are about 28.2 murders per 100,000 people in the city. 7. Alexandria, Egypt, 4.7 million. The historical port and beach city of Alexandria is located in Egypt and spans an area of 115.8 square miles. In 331 BC, Alexander the Great established it. With just under 4.7 million inhabitants, it is the second largest city in the nation. Every year, Alexandria's population increases by 1.7%. The annual economic contribution of the city to Egypt is $46 billion. The mainstay of its economy is tourism. As a result, it is known as the Pearl of the Mediterranean. Nearly half of Egypt's industrial activity happens in and around Alexandria, making it a major water consumer. Agriculture, a growing population, and rapid urbanization are some of the factors increasing the water needs in Alexandria. The city is run by a governor appointed by the president. Since the 2011 Egyptian revolution, there have been heightened crime and terrorist threats in Alexandria. 6. Abidjan, Ivory Coast, 4.7 million. The 818 square mile city of Abidjan is the economic capital of Ivory Coast. It has an estimated population of about 4.707 million people as of 2014. A study by the University of Ontario Institute of Technology reports that the population of Abidjan grows by 2.83% annually. The city has a population density of 8,578 people per square kilometer. Abidjan is Ivory Coast's hub of industrialization and urbanization. The city accounts for 18% of national employment, 52% of secondary and tertiary urban employment, and 50% of the country's GDP. Cocoa, oil and natural gas sectors are other major economic contributors. Abidjan has a refinery that processes crude oil. The petroleum extracted is then exported or used to process oil products locally. Abidjan has a population of 4.7 million people. 5. Luanda, Angola, 6.9 million. The capital and largest city of Angola is Luanda. Initial estimates put the city's population at 6.5 million in 2014. However, that figure was later revised to 6.94 million. The rate of population growth in Luanda is the highest in all of Africa. It is predicted to have 9 million inhabitants by 2030. Off the coast of the Atlantic Ocean, the city is home to the busiest seaport in the nation. The seaport serves as a point of entry for the export of fish products, iron ore, and petroleum. Additionally, it is used to import machinery, flour, coal, steel, and iron. High-rise office buildings and opulent homes are being built in Luanda as a result of the mining and oil industry's wealth. Additionally, flourishing in Luanda are the sectors of banking, finance, telecommunications, and tourism. The capital has a dearth of lodging options, so hotel and rental rates are extremely high. Luanda has developed a reputation as one of the most expensive cities in recent years. OSAC has rated the crime situation in Luanda as critical, with gangs and cyber criminals as the main threats. Millions of people live in slums in Luanda, where poverty levels are high. A little more than half of Angolans survive on less than $1 per day. Luanda, Angola has a population of 6.9 million people. 4. Kano City, Nigeria, 10 million. Kano, the second largest city in Nigeria and the fourth largest in Africa in terms of population, is home to over 10 million people. It functions as the commercial center of central Nigeria, as well as the largest manufacturing hub in the country. The production of textiles, groundnut processing, cotton, metal working, and salt is the city's main economic driver. The city serves as the administrative hub for the Kano Emirate, a savanna-based traditional state with some Emirates' political influence. Without a doubt, Kano, the second largest city in Nigeria, is home to more than 10 million people and acts as the main economic center of the area. For a sizable agricultural and cattle-rearing region, it serves as the industrial and commercial center. Kano also offers beautiful, fascinating and relaxing parks and museums where you can unwind. 3. Kinshasa, DR Congo, 13.3 million. The capital and largest city of the DRC is Kinshasa. The Congo River is nearby where it is located. It is the largest French-speaking city in the world after Paris. An estimate of Kinshasa's population puts it between 10 and 13.3 million. Despite having abundant mineral resources, 64% of people in the DRC are considered to be poor. The other major resources sustaining Kinshasa's economy are timber, agriculture, gas, and oil. The majority of the population does not profit from the economic gains made because of corruption and ongoing conflicts. The Overseas Security Advisory Council of the United States rates the level of crime as critical. The city is extremely dangerous due to the street gangs that operate there. Kinshasa has an estimated population of 13.3 million people. 2. Cairo, Egypt, 20.4 million. Cairo is Egypt's largest city and capital. It is commemorated as the cradle of civilization. It has a population of over 20.4 million people. According to a 2014 Population Reference Bureau report, the country's population is growing at a rate of 2.6% annually. Cairo is Egypt's economic hub, with 2/3 of the country's GDP generated in the greater metropolitan area. Textile and food processing, iron and steel production, consumer goods production, etc. are some of the top job-creating sectors in the country. Cairo is also a vibrant hub of tourism, commerce, finance, and government services. Since the January 2011 revolution, economic growth has been negatively affected, with food and medicine prices increasing and unemployment rising. Crime is also a problem in Cairo, with Overseas Security Advisory Council rating it highly. The Greater Cairo area has 8 overcrowded informal settlements and large population segments living below the international poverty line of $2 a day. Low education levels, high rates of malnutrition, and poor health conditions plague such settlements. Cairo has a population of 20.4 million people. Number 1. Lagos, Nigeria, 21 million. Nigeria's largest city and commercial hub is Lagos City. It is situated on the coast of the Atlantic Ocean. It is the city with the 7th fastest growth rate worldwide. It has 21 million residents. The population increases by 2 to 3% yearly. Lagos has a diversified economy with thriving manufacturing, transportation, constructive, service, wholesale, and retail sectors, in contrast to other states dependent on oil revenues. Each year, Lagos State produces $90 billion worth of goods and services. The Lagos State economy would rank 7th in Africa if it were a nation. Slum dwellers make up 2/3 of the population in Lagos. The city also has a crime issue. It receives a critical crime rating from the OSAC of the US. In the city, it's not uncommon for kidnappings, extortion, carjackings, assault, rapes, armed muggings, and burglaries to happen. It is the most populated city in Africa with a population of 21 million people. Adapting to the increasing numbers of people in urban areas remains the biggest challenge for African cities. This is because in some of its cities, the infrastructure that is currently in place dates back to the European colonial era on the continent. As a result, the ongoing increases in population in these cities are pressuring the infrastructure and diminishing the quality of living conditions. That effect is exposing these populations to poor living conditions and susceptibility to prospective illnesses and corruptions. That's all we had for you guys. Thanks for watching. But before you go, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. Also make sure to leave a comment.